Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Zakk Wylde here. John Ritchie just asked Zakk to sign his guitar. Zakk, was that a pain in the ass, and I apologize.
No, not at all. John's guitar rocks, and John rocks.
Yeah, he plays guitar. He's got a band. Did he tell you? He played for a while. Metal.
Kind of.
Right.
I'm not a lead guitarist. I can't. I never learned the skills.
Well,
I play
I'll
sax.
I'll have to hook you up with some of the scales, and man, you'll be good to go. Look at the diatonics, the pentatonics, you'll be ready.
I'm like a bar chorder. Like I write songs. I like to write songs, but most everything is pretty basic.
I dig it, man. Well, I'll show you a couple Jimmy Page cool licks. We'll start with that.
Those sound easy.
It's unbelievable.
No,
It
just
was
the real simple ones. You know what I mean?
Who's the best guitarist of all time in your mind?
Oh, you have to. Well, Jimi Hendrix would obviously be the.
You named one of your children Hendrix,
Yeah,
right?
Hendrix. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Hendrix, Hayden, Michael Rhodes, Wild. So
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, Mike Piazza's the godfather. Of Hendrix.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, no, we got. Well, I mean, I think within
Jimmy
all
Page
the guitars,
is up there.
without a doubt. You got if Jimi Hendrix is, obviously the Jesus Christ, the chosen son of electric guitar, then obviously the second coming would have to be King Edward, without a doubt. I mean, that's just hands down Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay, yeah.
Then you got, the pontiff, that would be Pope Page over there, you know what I mean? Because they all changed the game, you know what I mean? Each one.
Right.
Then you got, obviously Clapton, Beck, Tony Iommi, and then Randy, St. Rhodes.
Yeah, not enough people talk about Tony Iommi, man.
Well, I think it's just, but Tony really changed. I mean, it's not, they created a sound of music. Like, let's put it this way, if you're a classical musician, you have to learn, you learn the big three or whatever, Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just saying this is part of your education. And like if you're playing hard rock music, Tony Iommi is like he's like Bach or Beethoven or Mozart. It's one of the masters.
Okay,
yeah, because he created the whole genre. He created
Black Sabbath really
sound,
is the first thing.
It doesn't even. It's its own style of music. It's like do you play jazz or we play some blues? We play some Sabbath. It's its own.
He
sound.
invented a style of music.
Yeah, it's blues based,
right?
Without a doubt. And one of Tony's favorite guitar players is Barney Kessel's, who's an amazing, legendary jazz guitar player. Okay. So, but yeah, because there's flat fives in there and everything like that. But it's just, and a lot of it's blues based. So which Sabbath is, and then and it's just but. It's just riff after riff. I mean, it's like Lord Iommi. He's like the Beatles of riffs.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Lennon and McCartney of riffs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just his riffs alone are like hit singles. You know what I mean?
Where do you feel like you place in that pantheon?
I clean all their shoes and their
No,
jock straps.
for real.
That's what I do.
I know you're being
I'm proud
modest.
to do it. And I sniff the jock straps.
No,
and
for real
I
though.
feel very lucky that I can sniff them.
You have to. You have to realize that you are there. I mean, like you are in that elite.
Well, if anything,
group.
I'm a disciple of all those guys. So without a doubt, and I'm still like super uber fan of every one of those guys.
Do you feel like you like every day you get even better?
Well, I think with all guitar players, technically, I think, I don't know how much faster Yngwie could get, or Eddie Van Halen, or like Eddie said at one point, it's just like, how much faster can I play Spanish Fly or a Rough Shoe or something like that? But, where you have your technique together. But, I think after that, it's just a matter of different, like the Beatles, how much, or it's a matter of songs after that point, you know what I mean? And riffs, like with St. Dime over there. It's just like, how much heavier can a Pantera record get?
Right.
Now it's just, with Pantera, it was just the riffs and the songs, you know what I mean? And just like, what's the new batch of, Pantera Krispy Kremes? What are they gonna, we already have the chocolate one, we already have the vanilla one. What's the new flavor? You know what I mean? So I think it's with all bands, it's a matter of that.
You put Dimebag Darrell on that list too, right? Up there.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Dime changed the game too, without a doubt. So
what a way to go, man. That's a rock and roll way to go, but that is the saddest thing, man.
Without a doubt. So I was like talking to Dime like maybe about 10 days before that even went down, because he was getting ready. They were up in, going towards Ohio. I think he might have been in Boston.
Right.
They were, driving across, and then they were going to hit Seattle and come down to L.A.
Right.
I was going to hook up with him. Like, dude, I'll see you when you get out here. You know what I mean? So it was just, and with him, it was always a party in the background.
Right.
And
he was definitely one of the Rat Pack guys. He'd be, Dean
No,
and
it's
all the
funny you
guys.
said
Because it was always, he was the host of hosts. There was always parties. Like, put it this way. You know, because I always say with Dime, it was just like, no, it was just a white light. Whenever, like, no matter how bad you were feeling or how down, out you were, it would be like he'd be Blue Tarski. You know, it'd be coming in and go, man, look at all of you just sitting around. He goes, you know, when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. You know, I mean, that was Dimebag. You know, I mean, like, he'd always make you feel great.
No, they were in Jersey. You know Jimmy Florentine, obviously, right? The comedian. Me and him had a gig me and Jimmy had a gig in Wilmington, Delaware. And we're driving back through Jersey, and we're by the Starland Ballroom. And Jimmy says to me, you know, Pantera's playing at the Starland, and you know, I know those guys kind of. You want to go say hi? It's 4 in the morning. We're coming back from a gig on a Saturday night. I'm like, yeah. He goes, we go over there, and there's like a party going on, and I met Dimebag. I did a shot of Jägermeister. He wouldn't let me leave till I did about 14 shots of Jägermeister. He's got a broad with him, and great guy. We did like a bunch of shots. And you're right, they were on the East Coast. 3 days later, he got shot. They drove to Ohio from there. So I got to meet the guy, and I really do feel kind of honored by that because, first of all, the way he went. Second of all, just like a true guitarist, like a guy who was true to what he did. And
no, he was another one who's a lifer. You know, well, I'm just saying it didn't matter how big Pantera was or what, you know, and then when he was starting again with Damage Plan, you know what I mean? So it was just like, and building that up, it was just, it didn't matter whether Dime was playing in front of 3 people or he was playing in front of, you know, 120,000 people at a festival over in England. So it didn't matter to him. I mean, you know, and Dime was the same thing. It was just guitar every day, all the day. You know what I mean? Without a doubt.
And you wrote River about him, right? Or
well, yeah, I wrote it, and then after when, you know, after Dime passed away, it was just like, I just go, this is his tune, man. Yeah. You know, and I just looked at the lyrics and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, we do it all the time. You know, it'll never leave the set and everything like that. So yeah, we played all the time. The banners come down.
Don't you have a guitar that you use exclusively, like only for that song?
No, well, actually, Dime, you know, because Dime gave me, he hooked me up with some fiddles, and then obviously I got him a fiddle, you know, one of the camel bullseyes and everything like that. So yeah, and then got him the vest, the colors, and everything like that. So because he was buried with the colors on, and he had Eddie Van Halen. Ed came out.
Wow,
King Edward.
I remember that. Yeah,
you know, Dime,
and a Kiss coffin,
yeah,
right?
Like our heroes are obviously Kiss, because Ace Frehley was one of those guys. Obviously, St. Rhodes and obviously Eddie were, you know, this big guy. So Eddie, you know, came out and the yellow guitar from the Van Halen 2 record.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
So Dime was buried with that guitar.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, it was just you know, it's just mind blowing.
So you'd put Eddie Van Halen number 2 behind Hendrix?
Well, because you'd have to say, you know, Babe Ruth came first. So you know what I'm saying? So as far as the home run games go, and then obviously then you have Hammer and Hank. You know what I mean? But it was just like, but yeah, in that order, you would have to like you. It's just if you know, like you said, if Hendrix is Jesus Christ, then Eddie's the second coming. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, but the whole thing is because what Ed did between technique and the sound of his guitar, changed guitar like how guitars were made at that point, and then amps and sound. So I mean, he didn't just change guitar playing; he changed the way guitars were being made. Changed the whole guitar business.
Like the Lawrence Taylor of guitar.
He changed the game, man. Without a doubt. Ed, and then obviously, you know, Bo Page over there, Jimmy, just for his vision and everything like that, and what the songwriting and the tune of the Rain song alone, he could have just quit right after that.
Well, with Eddie Van Halen, see that originality. Like even if you listen to what he does in the song "Beat It" by Michael Jackson, when you hear that guitar, you're like, that's only one guy. It's Eddie Van Halen.
You know? So immediately you hear just one note, you hear his vibrato, you already know it's Ed. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, and then you have all those guys. I mean, there's just so many amazing. But you're talking about like rock players that have like completely changed the game, and then when Yngwie came out, you know, just elevated everybody's technique to a whole nother.
Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yeah, without a doubt. Right. So, you know, just to change the game, and then Steve Vai, you know, just huge influence on so many guitar players. You know what I mean? And then but I love Al Di Meola, who's amazing, and then, you know, John McLaughlin's huge on me. And
are
then,
these guys
Frank Marino from Mahogany Rush, and then Robin Trower I love too.
Have you become close with a lot of these guys? Friendly, where you talk shop?
Yeah, and I mean, I've actually lucked out. I mean, like all my heroes and stuff that I've run into, I've either met them on a good day, and so like it wasn't, you know, the dream wasn't destroyed.
I know that's hard, man.
Yeah. So you know, it's like you could never listen to their music again. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, I haven't run. You know, all my heroes I ran into where I got them on a good day, so it was super.
Well, they've got to be like blown away to meet you right back, right? I mean, there's that.
Well, then they just say, "Hey, Jack," they go, "Zakk, my jock strap's a little starchy. he can ease off on the starch."
But is it pressure when you meet a fan? Like, do you like what you just said? When you meet a fan, even if you're not in the mood to like sort of you know, everybody gets in a mood sometimes where you can't be pleasant all the time. When you meet a fan who says something in an airport or wherever, do you feel pressure to be nice?
I would just say, hey, what's going on, man?
Right,
Because I dig hanging out with people. I'm just saying, like, even like, you know, when we'd be drinking all the time, you know, there's people like, oh, you don't drink anymore or whatever. I still go to bars and hang out, you know, have my old duels, you know, mixed with, you know, because, no, I sniff a lot of glue now, so that kind of replaces the alcohol. So, I mean, but the whole thing is, but I just dig hanging out with people and talking about anything, you know.
Wow. How is your health? You had blood clots.
Well, I got
right?
the blood clots, yeah, and the doc was just like, well, you got to, you know, I said, doc, do I have to, like chill out on the drinking? Just,
you know that answer.
I was like, this is putting a real damper on the day, man. So he just goes, he was like, nah, he goes, well, he goes, Zakk, listen, he goes, if you drink the amount that you're telling me you drink, I go, well, when I'm around a fella, it's even worse, you know what I mean? When we're berserking, he just goes, well, put it this way, if you're on these blood thinners and you're drinking the way you drink with the fellas, and you're out berserking, and he goes, I hope you enjoy whatever Hooters it is that you're at that night, because that will be the last Hooters you will ever be seeing, right? So then I just go like this, I go, how did I get these? He goes, well, Zakk, he goes, maybe you got it genetically. He goes, I go, I don't know. I go, well, my parents are both in God's Tavern, so I can answer you that one. Right. He just goes, well, Zakk, he goes, I don't know how to say this, but if you got these blood clots genetically from your parents, I don't know how to say this, but all your years of drinking, by thinning your blood, may have saved your life. And I go to Barbara and I go, see, drinking is good for something. You know,
man, I wish I had a doctor would tell me that.
Wait, so here's a good one with the boss. So we were talking about Oz before we came down here. We were just talking about, you know, not drinking. Because I know some guys, you know, if I'm at a party, they're like, Zakk, I can't go, dude.
Right.
You know, just I can't. So I'm just like, you know, once again, they, you know, when I'm stopping, they go, well, Zakk, you have to understand, every day's a struggle. Every day's a war.
Yeah.
There's a war out there, one day at a time.
Right.
I go, I know, I've been with the same woman for 28 years, and I have 4 kids. I know what marriage is all about. He's like a jackass drinking. I go, I'm talking about marriage. You know what I'm saying? But the whole thing is, he goes, Oz, we're sitting there one day over at the house, and he just, Oz had a cup of tea, and I'm just sitting there, and I guess Mom and Barbara Ann went out to go shopping or something. They'll go see a movie or something. So I was just, we were staying at the house. Oz wasn't doing anything, right? Right. And he just goes, man, it sucks. And he's just sitting there. He goes, Zakk, being sober sucks. I go, yeah, I know. And he just goes, yeah. He goes, Zakk, I don't drink anymore. I don't do drugs anymore. I don't smoke anymore. I never thought I'd give that up. And he goes, I don't even drink coffee anymore. He goes, and my schlong doesn't even work. And then Oz goes like this. He goes, Zakk, why am I alive?
It's hard to give up everything, man, because eventually you go like, hey, you've done so much wrong, everything has to stop. I can relate to a lot of that. No, gambling, everything goes. You can't be with me. I'm like, everything's on the list. It's hard.
Everything's on the list.
So you're all right with just giving it up?
Just like, you know, like well, my buddies were just like, you know, so he's just like, well, Zakk, man, you don't want to end up like Mickey, you know, with Mickey Mantle.
No, yeah.
He goes, you don't want to end up like the Mick and everything like that. I go, yeah. And he just goes, well, look at it this way. He goes, Zakk, that was a good run, man. You had a good run. And he just goes, hey, look at, you know, we lost a drinking partner, but we gained a designated driver. Me and the fellas will be down at the McSorley's. Pick us up in about 3 hours, will you, jackass? Yeah, so, because they were like, do you have a great support team around you? Do you have one? And I go, oh, yeah. Great bunch of fellas, you know what I mean? It's like, you also hear is the beer truck backing up to the, you know, the Black Label nuclear submarine, stocking it full of more stuff. I remember when we were out on the road the one time, though, the one Ozzfest. Right. You know, because you got like, what was it, 12 of us were out in the submarine, and then you had, it was probably maybe 3 of us or 3 or 4 of us. Be like me, you, and you know, John. Like we're the big drinkers, and then you got a couple of the other guys, whether they're on steroids or Kimmy Kardashian, Quick Trim or whatever. Everybody's got their Delta Animal House, you know, thing that they're on. Right. So the whole thing is, I mean, everybody was jacked up on something. So, but you know, once again, partying, drinking like Navy SEALs and answering the bell like Navy SEALs. So everybody was still getting stuff done. But it's just like people would be out on getting a sub. They'd be out for about like 3-4 days. They'd be like, I don't know how you guys live like this. You know, so I mean. Yeah, because to us it was nothing. But I mean, the whole thing is we'd pull up to the liquor store like every day. Right. And we'd just like stockpile it. So it would be like, we would be dropping, I don't know, $1,200, $1,500 a day to, you know, just
Jeez.
whether it's Crown, beer, whatever, wine, whatever we're getting. Some of the other guys like the you know, Blue Label or whatever, you know, with the
That's
the
expensive,
John-
man.
So we'd be getting like 2-3 bottles of that, you know, next thing you'd be gone before you know it though. But the whole thing is, I remember Barbara had given me a phone call one day when we were out up on the road, and she goes, I just got back from the accountant's house. So I was like, yeah, what's up? And she just goes, oh, you and the Berserkers gonna have to shut down this zoo fraternity of yours, right?
Right to Animal
Like
House.
Teen Wormer coming in, right? And I go, well, how bad could it be? She goes, how bad? Mind you, we've been out for, I don't know, maybe 28 days, 30 days, you know, like a month, maybe if a month, right? And she goes, how big could it be? She goes, I go, what, 10 grand? 15?
Yeah,
She goes,
God.
I go, 20? And I hear dead silence on the other end of the phone. And I go, 25 grand? 30. And she goes, you're not even close. I go,
no way.
I go, 35? Oh, come on. I go, 40? She goes, no. And I go, 40, 42? And she's like, $51,000.
28 days.
with the
That's
booze.
damage. That's damage.
And
Oh, man.
so right after that, she goes, that's the end of the Berserkers. I go, okay. And like she just goes, I'll talk to you later. I just hung up the phone and I go, I think we need more beer. So we just pulled over and made another $1,500 drop. So yeah, so it was a good time. So I said, we're going out, you know, in a blaze of glory here. So you know,
Why not? Hey,
We can't stop now.
Let's this has been great. We're gonna end this. We got a guy here who's dying to talk to you. A couple of calls. But I want to take at least one phone call. Matt, watching on the Audience Network in St. Louis, has a question for Zakk. Matt, go ahead, man.
Matt, what are you doing?
Hey, man, what's going on? Hey, Zach.
What's happening, buddy?
I'm just having a couple beers here. I was going to thank you for all the years of great music. Book of Shadows, Pride and Glory, Osmosis, 3 of the greatest albums of all time.
No, thanks, brother.
I've got my tickets for Experience Hendrix here in St. Louis on the 13th.
Oh, very cool, man.
Yeah, what's that going to be like, brother?
Well, it's actually going to be all of us in one nuclear submarine, which I'm looking forward to because, I mean, you know, Eric Johnson's on the bill, Johnny Lange, I mean, Eric Gale, so a whole
Sounds
bunch
cool.
of these amazing guitar players. So, and I'm fans of all the guys. So, no, I've met several of the guys, but I haven't met a bunch of the other fellas. So, I mean, it's going to be cool rolling with everybody. And, you know, watching the guys throw down every night. So, I guess everybody gets up there and does like 3 or 4 of Jimmy's tunes, and then after that,
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then you know we all chill, and then we just go to the next town. You know what I mean?
Are you doing? Do you know which ones you're doing?
Actually,
or-
I'm probably going to learn. I'm going to have a couple different ones, so this way I could play, mix it up. You know, like one night I'll do this. I'll have like I'll have the audibles ready to go, like
Right.
Father Peyton. You know what I mean? So it's just like I'll say Omaha, and then we'll either what set it's going to be. You know, we'll have 3 other songs or whatever. You know, so I'll probably learn about maybe like 9 songs or something like that. You know, if I'm doing 3 songs a night, just one night do the one set, next night do another set or whatever.
Matt, what Hendrix tune do you want to hear Zakk do?
What is it called, Zach? It's 649.
All right. Well, I'll check and see what the rest of the fellas are
That's
doing.
a
see if
great
I
one.
can throw that in, and I'll knock that one out.
I'd like to hear Voodoo Child. That's my first.
Well, there's some serious
No,
there's
you
some
should-
room to shred on that.
You should see him play Voodoo Child. I mean, on an acoustic.
I'm just
Guitar.
saying.
That was the thing
I would
at the
assume.
original-
It's absolutely.
I would assume that's amazing.
phenomenal.
That's-
I don't. How do you do that? I mean, do you? How in the world are you able
Well, no,
to
that was-
play an acoustic guitar?
Well, that's my Epiphone master build. And all I remember was we were going out of a Roland Jazz course, and I had my pedals up there, and I just stepped on the distortion pedal, and I was just like, oh my God, listen to this thing. So
I
it was
can't
just-
imagine that acoustic.
We were just
That's-
cracking up laughing, so I just ended up using, because I had an EMG pickup in there, and I was just for an acoustic guitar, and I was just like, this thing sounds like the most insane electric guitar I've ever played on.
Do you drop the action just way down on all
action.
your
Yeah,
guitars?
well, that guitar plays great. It actually plays like your Les Paul.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like the action's 3 feet off the
Yeah.
neck. Yeah, no, because I mean, that's discouraging to any kid. You know what I'm just saying? Put it this way, like if I ever see a kid that's learning how to play, it's just like I'll get the action, so it's enjoyable to play.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because otherwise you're going to be so discouraged, you're not even going to want to play the guitar.
Yeah.
Matt, thanks for calling, buddy. Looking forward to that. Listen, thanks so much for coming in, Zakk.
Oh, thanks for
You're
having
the
me
best,
down, dude.
man.
It was a blast,
Great
man.
storyteller. Come
Well,
back anytime.
Let me ask you this. I appreciate
Yeah.
it, brother. Let me ask you this for your predictions for this weekend and why, and then your prediction for the Super Bowl. and why.
I think it's Peyton's year to go back to the bowl, and I think we'll see Peyton Manning with a second ring. I really do.
Now, who do you see in the NFC?
That's tough. I think the NFC team wins the Super Bowl.
Oh, really?
They're built to play in cold weather.
I'll tell you what. I think Seattle. Seattle wins.
That's another thing here too. Me and my buddy Richard, we're talking about the Super Bowl being out here, right? Now, you remember when they tried doing it up in Minnesota? You know what I mean? When they had the Redskins were up there, playing against, it was what was the year that was Redskins and
that was in the
Bills.
Dome,
though. That was the Redskins and the Bills,
right?
And but I remember because of the weather was so brutal, nobody could go out, nobody could go shopping, nobody can go to restaurants.
It was a bad week just to be there.
The whole point of a Super Bowl or the Olympics, the reason why you try to get it in your town, is because of all the business it generates in that city or that town. So we all understand that. So, but the whole thing is this: not only that, the playoffs. Having the weather conditions, whether you're a Chicago Bear and you're going to bring them up to Chicago and just put a beating on them because you're used to, and it's 40 below or whatever, you're the Packers or whatever, right? So the whole thing is that you'll have the advantage, or you're the Giants, bringing the Niners with, with Joe Cool in the town and everything like that, and so you're bringing the Niners out and it's freezing cold and the whole 9 yards. I get that's home field advantage. Yeah. The Super Bowl weather should not have anything to do with the outcome of the game.
Most people agree with you. I know. I mean
that's why it's in a dome, or you have it out in L.A. You have it at the Rose Bowl, you have it in Miami at the Orange Bowl. I mean, that's where all the Super Bowls have been, where weather has really never had a factor on the game. Yeah. So I was just laughing when the Philadelphia game was going on. There was 6 inches of snow. Yeah. 7, you couldn't even see anything on the field. Yeah. I hope the Super Bowl. This is nothing compared to what the Super Bowl is going to be like. I hope it's 20 feet of snow.
I'll tell you,
awesome.
I'll answer your question. I think Seattle wins just because they're at home and that defense, and I think Peyton beats the Seahawks because I think Peyton can play in anything in the Super Bowl. That's what
let me ask you this: isn't Father Peyton's record in the snow? It's not too favorable. In bad weather.
I don't know that
because he's terrible, especially terrible against Captain America.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. I think they're it's in Denver. The
Patriots are so beat up, both sides of the ball.
You never count them out.
I don't even think they belong in that AFC Championship game. The only thing that's gotten them there is scheme. They're just not. They don't have the bodies. They don't have the guys. They're all hurt.
Let me ask you this, Zakk, because you're the one guy to ask this. Most importantly, what songs do you think Bruno Mars will sing at halftime?
I think he's going to break into War Pigs.
If he had any nuts, he would play War Pigs.
Then I see a couple St. Dimes songs coming in there.
It's football.
Maybe Hellbound.
Football. You and Ozzy should be the halftime show. It should not. I'm sorry. I don't care about what broads think about the Super Bowl. It's football.
I'm shocked.
Bruno Mars.
Listen to this. I mean, listen, I understand the halftime entertainment. Put it this way: I remember this one comedian was cracking these jokes. I forget, it was just about Madonna. So going when Madonna did the halftime show, and it just said, nothing says American male more than cross-dressing and everything else in Madonna. And nothing says Jack Lambert and Dick Butkus and Ray Nitsky more than a Madonna concert. I was just this comedian was going off on the correlation between Madonna and the most toughest guys that have ever played in the NFL. Yeah. And then it was beyond hysterical. But I mean, the whole thing that I'm shocked because it's in New Jersey that either the unstoppable rebel force that is the mighty John Bond is not playing, and or Springsteen's not playing.
Well, Bruce did it a few years ago,
and he did it, but
you got
the mighty John Bond.
You're right. That's right.
I'm just saying is if you can't have a heavy metal halftime show or get Metallica to do it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying why isn't Metallica?
And that's football. But
but Metallica is a huge band. I'm just saying to the public, not just to heavy metal.
Oh, no, exactly. They're mainstream.
They have a huge, massive audience. Yeah. So so you can't dismiss that and say, they're just for heavy metal people. So the whole thing is I'm shocked and Metallica's never done it. So I'm shocked that, like, you know, but and they just played up in Iceland. So I think this would be no problem when they're playing at 30 below and they're playing with, you know, 40 inches of snow.
Zakk, thanks,
battle tested.
Yeah.
We got to roll. Catacombs of the Black Vatican's the album. Come back anytime, brother.
All right, I appreciate it.
The great.
I'll see you guys. Yeah, I'll see you guys when we're out on the road.
Let's roll. The great Zakk Wylde back after this.
The Artie Lange Show, weeknights on Audience, only on DirecTV.